Besson put themselves into third in this qualifying session. Jacobus Besson is up minus 0.23.
It's amazing what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do. Jacobus Besson is just showing us all what they're made of.
Jacobus Besson is driving through Shell Curve. It looks like Greg Hoffert is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Greg Hoffert is looking relatively composed going through Hasseröder.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Jacobus Besson is up minus 0.23. Jacobus Besson has some work to do as that 129.336 is only good enough for 6th. Jacobus Besson appears focused and prepared driving through Hotel. Jamie Nichols is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Jamie Nichols is driving through Amman Curve. Jacobus Besson is trying to find that extra performance.
Well, Lucy, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Jacobus Besson is looking relatively composed going through Shell Curve.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
JP Brand is on their out lap.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
JP Brand appears focused and prepared driving through Triple. Philip Van Staden is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
Every driver needs something different, Lucy. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
Philip Van Staden has some work to do as that 134.621 is only good enough for 8th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Greg Hoffert is driving through Hasseröder. You can feel the tension building. Jacobus Besson is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. Jacobus Besson has some work to do as that 128.818 is only good enough for 6th. Jacobus Besson is looking relatively composed going through Hotel. Richard Footman is up minus 0.26. Richard Footman has some work to do as that 130.913 is only good enough for 8th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they're going to find it before the session is over.
Peter Geldenhuys will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings. Peter Geldenhuys appears focused and prepared driving through McDonald's. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Philip Van Staden is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. Philip Van Staden has some work to do as that 3:17.061 is only good enough for 9th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Philip Van Staden is driving through Hotel. JP Brand is trying to find that extra performance.
Good question, Lucy. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
JP Brand is looking relatively composed going through triple. Richard Footman is looking for ways to improve their consistency. Richard Footman appears focused and prepared driving through triple. JP Brand is trying to find that extra performance. JP Brand will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
JP Brand is driving through Hotel.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Philip Van Staden has positioned themselves well in 9th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start.
Absolutely, Lucy. Philip Van Staden has shown great potential to secure 9th. It's now a matter of channeling that momentum into a strong performance during the race.
Philip Van Staden has improved by -0.32 up through McDonald's.
There's no guarantee that Philip Van Staden can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
What a fantastic showing from Sean Motter in qualifying. They currently hold the top spot and are in prime position for a strong starting position. Their lap times have been exceptional, and they have showcased their talent and determination.
You're absolutely right, Lucy. Sean Mater has been absolutely exceptional in this qualifying session. Their performance is a testament to their skill and determination.
Sean Motter will be happy having put themselves into 1st in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
Impressive display by Jacobus Lasson, currently sitting in position 6. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position. JP Brand has put in a great effort and currently holds 5th. With the session winding down, time is running out for them to unleash their full potential. JP Brand will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session.
Safety car. Speed 100 km per hour.
You've joined us on a breezy day here at OSCHERSLEBEN GP, as we're getting ready to get things underway. The second position belongs to Jamie Nichols. JP Brand is holding down the fort in 3rd place.
JP Brand will be taking no prisoners today.
At 4th, we have the one and only Johnny Geldenhuys.
Johnny Geldenhuys will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Securing the 5th place is Jacobus Basson.
Jacobus Basson will be ready to show what they're made of.
Starting from the 7th position, Richard Footman will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win. The green flag is out and the drivers are off. You know what, John? This is what it's all about.
This is where the driver's true abilities will be put to the test. Staying calm and collected while pushing for the lead is the ultimate challenge.
The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean. normally closely fought here at OSCHERSLEBEN GP, I think we are in for a cracking race. I think passing is going to be difficult today here at OSCHERSLEBEN GP, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on. Jacobus Besson will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
It's a solid performance from Jamie Nichols at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
Consistency is key in racing. Jamie Nichols just needs to keep doing what they're doing and wait for opportunities to present themselves.
And Jamie Nichols has just won the place from Joni Geldenhuis.
Go, 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 that's what we want to see.
Oh, this is getting intense. JP Brand is just a few car lengths behind Joni Geldenhuis.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
Jacobus Besson is giving it their all as they chase down Richard Footman in P6.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Things are heating up as Joni Geldenhuis tries to close the gap to Jamie Nichols. Richard Footman is holding 6th, but Jacobus Besson is right on their tail. Jacobus Besson is in there like a rat out the drain pipe job. Richard Footman is not going to be happy about that.
Indeed, they've been trying so hard to hold their position, but the other drivers are just too strong. Meanwhile, Jacobus Besson is showing some great pace.
A tough moment for Richard Footman, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 8th. Richard Footman is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The gap between them is now just over 0.3 seconds.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Joni Geldenhuis will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. This is where the race gets really interesting. Jamie Nichols is closing in on Greg Hoffer. The green flag is out and the drivers are off. You know what, John? This is what it's all about.
This is where the driver's true abilities will be put to the test. Staying calm and collected while pushing for the lead is the ultimate challenge.
Looks like Jamie Nichols is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Jamie Nichols needs to be careful not to overdo it.
The race is heating up as JP Brand in 5th closes in on Joni Geldenhuis. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It looks like Jamie Nichols is pushing hard to catch up to Greg Hoffert. That's not a small gap, but Jamie Nichols has what it takes to challenge for the position. Jamie Nichols could be on a charge here, John. They have just put in a quicker lap than Greg Hoffert. It's a battle of wills out there, with JP Brand trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Joni Geldenhuys. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as JP Brand tries to reel in Johnny.
The green flag is out and the drivers are off. You know what, John? This is what it's all about.
This is where the driver's true abilities will be put to the test. Staying calm and collected while pushing for the lead is the ultimate challenge.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Greg Hoffert trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Jamie Nichols. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
Absolutely, Greg Hoffart in third will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Every move counts now as JP Brand works to reel in Joni Geldenhuys and overtake for P4. Looking at the lap times, JP Brand is not currently on pace with Joni Geldenhuys. Maybe they'll get a chance to see where they can improve. The delta between Greg Hoffert in third and Jamie Nichols remains over a second, but Greg Hoffert is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 17 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Greg Hoffart in third determined to catch up. But we know Jamie Nichols isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Greg Hoffart is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
The tension is building as JP Brand trails behind Joni Geldenhuys. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Joni Geldenhuys is pushing to maintain the lead, while JP Brand is working to close in and challenge for the position. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Greg Hoffert, who is braking development. I don't think that's the fastest way around OSCHERSLEBEN GP. The race is heating up as JP Brand in fifth closes in on Joni Geldenhuys. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. Braking development. I don't think that's the fastest way around OSCHERSLEBEN GP. It looks like Greg Hoffert is pushing hard to catch up to Jamie Nichols. That's not a small gap, but Greg Hoffert has what it takes to challenge for the position. It looks like we might get a battle between Greg Hoffert and Jamie Nichols. As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely, they're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Peter Geldenhuys in eighth chases after Richard Footman. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Peter Geldenhuys needs to find a way to close the gap.
This is where experience comes into play. Richard Footman has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Peter Geldenhuys is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Great driving from Peter Geldenhuys, who has just gained a place and moved up to 7th. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Greg Hoffert trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Jamie Nichols. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Greg Hoffert needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. John, they have just put in a slower lap than Jamie Nichols.
It will be interesting to see if Jamie Nichols can keep outpacing Greg Hoffart.
Things are going according to plan for Richard Footman, who is currently 6th.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Richard Footman has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Excellent work from Richard Footman, who has managed to increase their lead over Peter Geldenhuys. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it.
That's a really strong performance from Richard Footman. They're not giving Peter Geldenhuys any chances to catch up.
A strong showing from Sean Motter, who is currently 1st. Impressive stuff from Sean Motter, who has managed to pull away from Jamie Nichols, leaving them in choking in their exhaust fumes.
That's exactly what Sean Mater needed to do.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Greg Hoffert will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Greg Hoffart tries to reel in Jamie Nichols. But Jamie Nichols is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Greg Hoffart needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Jamie Nichols and move up the field.
It's looking good for Jacobus Besson, sitting in 5th. A commanding performance from Jacobus Besson, who has increased their lead over Richard Footman, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors. A solid performance from Greg Hoffert, who is holding down 3rd.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
The gap between Greg Hoffert and JP Brand is getting smaller. It's now down to 1.5 seconds. During your racing career, John, how did you determine when it was the right time to pit for fresh tires due to tire degradation?
It was a combination of factors, Lucy. Monitoring lap times, communicating with the team about tyre wear, and assessing the car's handling were all crucial in deciding when to make a pit stop for fresh tyres.
Peter Geldenhuys has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Richard Footman. I expect their only hope at this point is that Richard Footman makes an error.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Peter Geldenhuys is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
Things don't seem to be going JP Brand's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. It's game on now. JP Brand has closed the gap to Greg Hoffert. It's now down to 1.4 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
As a former racing driver, John, how challenging was it to adapt your driving style to account for tire degradation throughout a race?
It was a constant challenge, Lucy. Tire degradation can change the car's balance and handling, so drivers need to be versatile and adaptable. It requires continuous adjustments to driving techniques and a keen understanding of the car's behavior.
The gap between Greg Hoffert and JP Brand is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Greg Hoffert to even allow JP Brand to get a look in.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops, though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
It's all about consistency for Greg Hoffert, who is currently third. Some great driving from Greg Hoffert, who has increased their lead over JP Brand and is starting to put some distance between them. The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of focus and determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
Sean Motter is placed first at the moment. He's pulling away. Sean Motter is increasing the gap to Jamie Nichols. Well, it doesn't look like Greg Hoffert is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Jamie Nichols.
They certainly aren't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Jamie Nichols.
Greg Hoffert has just put in a faster lap than Jamie Nichols, so that's going to give them something to worry about. Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. The tension is building as Greg Hoffert trails behind Jamie Nichols. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Jamie Nichols is pushing to maintain the lead, while Greg Hoffert is working to close in and challenge for the position.
It's going to be tough for Greg Hoffert, as Jamie Nichols seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Greg Hoffert pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for JP Brand, who is currently in P4. But Greg Hoffert is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from JP Brand. It's a brilliant day for racing here at OSCHERSLEBEN GP. I'm really enjoying this.
This race is truly epic. What a treat to be sat here witnessing this spectacle.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Greg Hoffert as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time. It seems like Greg Hoffert is struggling. Their last lap time was a bit off the pace of Jamie Nichols. The race is heating up as JP Brand in fourth closes in on Greg Hoffert. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
That's right, JP Brand in fourth knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Greg Hoffert is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
It looks like Peter Geldenhuis is pushing hard to catch up to Richard Footman. That's not a small gap, but Peter Geldenhuys has what it takes to challenge for the position.
Absolutely, Peter Geldenhuys in 7th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as JP Brand in 4th chases after Greg Hoffert. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. JP Brand needs to find a way to close the gap. Good news for JP Brand, the gap to Greg Hoffert has decreased. It's now down to 0.7 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
Fantastic racing on show here today, and it's not just the top drivers who are impressing us. Even the drivers at the back of the pack are putting up a good fight, battling it out for every position.
It's a testament to the level of competition at Simspeed Motorsports. Even the smallest mistake can cost you valuable seconds, or even lead to a crash. But these drivers are up to the challenge, and they're giving it their all. It's clear that Simspeed Motorsports really is the place to be for top quality racing.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with JP Brand trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Greg Hoffert. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. The delta between Peter Geldenhuys in 7th and Richard Footman remains a hold up. Breaking info. Oh dear, Jacobus Basson has had an incident. It's a battle of wills out there, with Peter Geldenhuys trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Richard Footman. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. It looks like Peter Geldenhuys is making a move. The gap to Richard Footman is now down to 0.6 seconds.
That's a great effort from Peter Geldenhuys. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. JP Brand will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drop. Hold on a second. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. The race is heating up as JP Brand in 4th closes in on Greg Hoffert. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. The gap between JP Brand and Greg Hoffert is getting smaller. You know, John, I've always wondered, how do racing drivers stay so cool and collected under such immense pressure?
Well, Lucy, it comes down to mental strength and training. Drivers often work with sports psychologists and practice techniques like meditation and visualization to help them stay calm and focused during high-pressure situations.
JP Brand is on a mission, chasing Greg Hoffert, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. JP Brand is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Greg Hoffert.
What a win! This is a historic moment for Sean Motter, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision! Jamie Nichols takes 2nd place with a fantastic race. That was an outstanding performance from Greg Hoffert. They fought hard and took the final spot on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
J.P. Brand in 4th. Jacobus Besson claim 5th. Sixth is Peter Geldenhuis. With Philip Van Staden in 8th. Richard Footman takes 7th. It looks like Richard Footman has been called into the pits.